Here we go again, folks. Epic strikes again. Another game bites the dust to Epic's whim. This time we're going to talk about Rocket League. If you go to that game's Steam page right now, you're going to notice that things have escalated a bit. If you go to the review section, you will see that there's this big-ass red bar now across a certain period of time, which indicates that Rocket League has been review bombed. And if you've been keeping up with news, then you'll be well aware of what has transpired. Epic Games has bought Psyonix, which is, of course, the development studio of Rocket League, which likely means that in due time we're going to see Rocket League transition from Steam to Epic. So Epic throwing money around to acquire exclusivity rights is nothing new. It happened with Metro Exodus, with Phoenix Point, Outer Worlds, and the big one was Borderlands 3. They all have sort of limited exclusivity deals, but Rocket League is different. It's sort of the reverse of what's happening with those other games, whereas with previous cases we're looking at limited exclusivity before the games are sold on other platforms. What we're looking at here is that it's going to be sold on platforms like Steam before that changes, before the Epic exclusivity becomes more permanent. Now, nothing is 100% confirmed yet. This is just assumption based on a statement that Epic put out in relation to this latest announcement, this latest partnership. So Epic sent out a PR statement, and there's one particular quote that raised some eyebrows. According to The Verge's reporting, that quote reads as follows: "The PC version of Rocket League will come to the Epic Games Store in late 2019. In the meantime, it will continue to be available for purchase on Steam. Thereafter, it will continue to be supported on Steam for all existing purchasers." So the implication there seems rather clear. The terms "in the meantime" and "thereafter" are pretty indicative of what Epic's plans are, or what they hope the plans turn out to be. This seems to be basically saying that for now, the game will be available on Steam, but after a while, it won't. After a while, only existing Steam customers, people who purchased Rocket League on Steam before it got pulled, will get updates, but everyone else will have no choice but to purchase on Epic. That seems to be the implication here. Another major difference between what's happening with Rocket League versus what happened with previous games is that in this case, we're seeing Epic fully acquire an entire studio. They're not just paying money to gate a game off from Steam on a temporary basis. They're buying out a studio so that these guys develop games for them, so that their currently existing games make money for them. And you know, studio acquisitions are nothing new to the games industry. It wasn't long ago that Microsoft went on a buying spree to bolster their first-party lineup. They recently announced the acquisition of studios like Obsidian and Inxile. And then before that, I believe it was during E3 2018 that Microsoft announced they had acquired studios like The Initiative, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, and Compulsion Games. And then even further back, you may recall that Microsoft bought out Mojang, which is the developer of the all too famous Minecraft. Now, there is a difference between how Microsoft is handling that versus how Epic is doing it. Microsoft, when they bought out these studios, didn't pull those games from the stores that they already launched in, that they're already being sold in. Microsoft is keeping those games as is. It's just that new projects henceforth will be exclusive to Microsoft's consoles because now it's Microsoft that's funding these new projects. So just because Microsoft acquired Obsidian doesn't mean that games like Pillars of Eternity suddenly will only be available on certain platforms. That's going to stay as is. Same thing goes for Ninja Theory's Hellblade. That game's suddenly not going to shift where it's being sold. It's just that future games by Ninja Theory will be Microsoft exclusive, Xbox exclusive, Windows exclusive, you name it. I feel like this whole situation wouldn't raise as many eyebrows if Rocket League was kept on Steam. If things for Rocket League stayed exactly as they are, but it's just that Epic will be funding Psyonix to make new games for the Epic Games Store. That'd be one thing. What's got people riled up is the fact that they're taking a game that exists on Steam, and we're not talking about Metro Exodus, which sold pre-orders on Steam. Rocket League launched on Steam. It's already out there. It's been on that storefront for ages. And now with Epic's acquisition, it's being pulled. And this is unprecedented. Stuff like this doesn't tend to happen. Granted, there is some advance notice. Right now, the game's being sold on Steam, and there is a chance for people who want to play Rocket League on Steam to go get it right now while the the game is still in the store. But after that, should Epic decide that, yeah, we're gonna pull Rocket League from Steam, from then on, people will have no choice but to use what is currently an objectively inferior launcher. Murking the waters is the fact that Epic is insisting there is no real confirmation that Rocket League is intended to be removed from Steam. Here is what a spokesperson for Epic told Verge. We are continuing to sell Rocket League on Steam and have not announced plans to stop selling the game there. Rocket League remains available for new purchasers on Steam, and long-term plans will be announced in the future. On top of that, Psyonix's blog post announcing this new partnership with Epic was updated with the following addendum. Editor's note, we wanted to clarify something for you after today's news. Rocket League is and remains available on Steam. Anyone who owns Rocket League through Steam can still play it and can look forward to continued support. Thanks. They say they want to clarify, but this really doesn't tell us anything. They're not confirming that they aren't going to remove Rocket League from Steam. They are simply, from the looks of it, buying time. They're not saying yes, but they're not saying no either. I feel like if they had every intention of keeping the game on Steam, they would have just come out and said it. But the fact that they're being so coy about it, the fact that they're sidestepping the issue rather than giving us a straight answer, gives off the sense that they're trying to mitigate negative PR, they're trying to avoid backlash by delaying what seems like an inevitable announcement that Rocket League will be pulled from Steam. Maybe I'm wrong though, maybe they legitimately don't know, maybe they're still contemplating options, but I'd be genuinely surprised if Epic decided to keep Rocket League on Steam given their recent streak, given their very aggressive strategy towards dominance. As for what this all means for Rocket League moving forward, Psyonix detailed everything they could in a Q&A section of this blog post, which reads as follows. No, really, what does this mean for Rocket League? In the short term, nothing will change at all. We're still committed to providing Rocket League with frequent updates that have new features, new content, and new ways to play the game for as long as you'll have us. In the long term, we expect to bring Rocket League to the Epic Games Store and to leverage our new relationship to grow the game in ways we couldn't do on our own before. We believe that bringing Rocket League to new audiences with more support is a win for everybody. Does this mean the gameplay will be different? Nope. What does this mean for the Rocket League esports ecosystem? We think this is a great move for the Rocket League esports ecosystem because it significantly increases our potential reach and resources, just like it does for the game itself. We really do believe that you'll find our future in esports to be very exciting, especially in the near future, where on June 21st to June 23rd at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, the Rocket League Championship Series Finals will end our 7th season with a bang. What happens to the Psyonix team? We are the same team that we have always been, only now we have the power and experience of Epic Games behind us. Yeah, esports in particular seems to be a big deal for Rocket League. That's where this game seems to benefit most from this partnership. After all, Epic Games has inserted itself deeply into the esports landscape with Fortnite, the most popular game in the world. So now with the acquisition of Psyonix, they can kind of take Rocket League and bolster that game's esports presence. Another major benefit will be the fact that now Psyonix will have the backing of Epic's massive war chest from their Fortnite success. But here's the thing, I feel like Psyonix didn't really need the money in the first place, given that they're monetizing Rocket League to hell and back with all the loot boxes and stuff. There's a bunch of microtransactions in this game. So money, I don't think, was a major issue, but the potential to grow the esports aspect of the game seems to be what mainly drew them to this partnership. Not to mention that Epic and Psyonix have been partners for a long time, given that Rocket League runs on Unreal, and Rocket League has been out for a long while, and they've gotten a lot of support from Epic in terms of the tool set for creating the game and upkeeping the game. So yeah, from a developer's perspective, from Psyonix's perspective, I have no doubt that they're looking forward to this partnership, to the benefits that it has to offer. But from a consumer perspective, kind of sucks to see that Rocket League will all of a sudden be pulled from Steam. Things are heated enough in terms of Epic Games Store strategy. This is gonna, I think, murk the waters even more. It's gonna just make this mess even bigger. This all also makes me think that Tim is actually full of crap when he talks about how his goal with all this is to improve the PC gaming landscape, to normalize the 88%, that his pursuit is that of justice for PC gaming. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to tweets that he posted talking about how if Steam matches Epic's revenue cut of 88% without any strings attached, then Epic will sort of back off from exclusivity deals. He talked about how if the 88% revenue cut was normalized, it would be a glorious moment for PC gaming, that stores would now become a nice place where players can just buy stuff rather than game developer IRS. And from a developer perspective, I can see how that could be a great proposition, but from a consumer perspective, it's not great. And I know some people don't care as much about which launcher they use, about having multiple launchers running at a time, but plenty of other people do. Plenty of other people enjoy the suite of features that Steam has to offer versus Epic's meager, less feature-complete launcher. And these people do not appreciate the prospect of their choice of storefront getting removed because Epic is so focused on dominating through just sheer force of wealth, just by throwing money rather than competing in sort of a more meaningful way via better offers, via better products, via better services. As I said before, what's frustrating about the way Epic is competing is that they're doing so not through desirable benefits, but rather through inconvenient restrictions. They're not winning over consumers, they're strong-arming us into using their store by any means necessary, by gating content off. And what they've done here with Rocket League, this potential for a permanent extraction of a game from Steam into a permanent exclusivity for the Epic Games Store, yeah, that's gonna cause a ripple. That's gonna cause a wave. It'll be interesting to see how this all pans out in the future, how much further Epic is gonna take this strategy, and what Steam will ultimately do about this. But again, taking away an existing game from a storefront that it's been sold on for so long, splitting the PC gaming landscape, the community this way, causing all this ruckus, it's just not ideal. These are one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on Epic Games buying out Psyonix and Rocket League in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.